because I think you guys are going to want this information. And of course, I have it that I can email to Jules and she can share it with you guys. It's a real quick little PowerPoint. I just went to AI and I said, here are the parameters I'm looking for with skills and following up and strategies and techniques. And then I went to another AI tool and dropped it into a PowerPoint. So that way you have visual. It's not just me talking to you. And then you also have something that you can receive via email or text, and you can have that information with you as well too. So I'm going to screen share here real quick, and let me get that going for you guys. Of course, I read through all of this because I'm not going to just share stuff with you guys that I don't feel is actually applicable. But we're going to talk about 10 skills that are important, okay? So here's number one. You are not selling someone by following up with them. You're not bugging them. You're not bothering them. You're offering them information, sharing things with them, educating them. So if you focus on adding value, you never feel like you're selling someone. And I think that's the biggest thing in this industry is people are like, I don't want to be a salesperson. I don't want to sell. I don't want to sell. Well, me neither. I'm a teacher. I was a school teacher for 10 years, 35 years ago. I love to teach. I love to educate, but I don't like selling. I was never a salesperson. So for me, if you focus on the service, that's going to make follow-up a no-brainer. A big key is to follow up within 24 to 48 hours. When I give someone something, whether it's a video or maybe it is a sample, if I happen to see them, right? Try the ice wave, something like that in person. A link, something I'm sending them. They've come to my patching party or they've come to an event that I did. I'm going to follow up within the first, really a lot of times I'll follow up later that day, but at least the first 24 to 48 hours and ask them a question. What they thought of it, what they experienced. So the follow-up within that first couple days is key. Then from there, we're going to use the curiosity, right? It's about a conversation. It's not about, let me move this over here because of my little doodad down here. There we go. It's not about convincing people. It's about having that conversation with them to create that curiosity. So what did you notice? What did you feel? Or what's the area you'd like to focus on most? Or what else could I share with you? What made you feel like blah, blah, blah. So you're asking questions. That's a conversation. Again, people don't like to be sold. Go to my link, buy my product. They want to get the information they want. And you don't know unless you ask them questions. So it's really important that you keep track of the conversations. I'm a notebook person. So I like to keep track of the people that I've had conversations with in a notebook. But I'm also a CRM person. I don't do spreadsheets. Oh my God, Deborah sent me her spreadsheet this morning. I was like, oh, if I only had a brain that focused like that. I don't have a brain that functions like that, but that was very amazing and detailed. But I don't work that way. So notebook, and then I use CRM. So when I was in London a few weeks ago, I talked about Trello being a CRM option for those of you in Europe. Here in the United States, I use Project Broadcast. It's a way for me to put people into groups, and then I talk to them based on that. Now, not a group as in, I don't group message people. It's a texting app, and I'll send one text message, say, to all of my potential people, inviting them to a Zoom. They each get individual texts, but I send one at a time and it goes to all of them. And they have individual, it looks just like I'm individually texting with them, and we are. But they don't realize it was a big message that went out to, say, hundreds or more people. Okay. So again, keeping track of who you're following up with, and maybe it's just you're conversating. Like for me, initially, I'm going back and forth on my phone, whether it's messenger or text, but keeping track of the conversations. And this is key. People puke on people, and that's a big no-no. No one wants this long of a message. I had a lady this weekend that said, she sent me a message. She was a doctor. She is a doctor. And she said, hey, okay, I did this post on Facebook. It was my before and after picture, and people are commenting. And so what should I inbox them? So I said, well, let's use this little bitty one, little DM right here and ask them if they want more information about what you're using or if they wanted to see, you know, a video or a PDF. So then she sends me what she sent. And I'm not joking, this long. I mean, the stuff she went into way off in left field. And I said, Dr. Cindy, you're going to need to stop that right now because people, number one, aren't going to read all of this. And yes, you're so fired up and excited, but you got to keep it light and you got to keep it tight. You don't know what questions they really have. And if you're puking all this information on them, all this stuff, they're going to be like, yeah, nah, it's too much for me. So don't give long explanations, just little bits of information, okay? Little bits. See what they want to know. Only answer questions that were asked. Okay, so if they ask you a question, you answer that question. They want more information. Great. Would you like me to send you a video or a PDF? Oh, I want a PDF. Fantastic. Let me send that right now. Okay, and then you circle back with them. So when we look at social media, which we did our social media challenge last week, and we look at third-party validation, obviously being here right now today, you heard people sharing their personal testimonials. So inviting them to a Zoom like this, or inviting them to see a recording of a testimonial, or sending them the Now site that Jules posted in the chat, right? Sending them little short videos, little short screenshots, little short testimonials. That gives that proof, that social proof, that third-party validation. That's important. I was meeting with 2 new brand partners today for coffee, and she said, I love the stories. I love the stories. And I said, I know, I need to get you in our Team Evolve testimonial Telegram channel. And she's like, I don't know what Telegram is. And I said, that's totally fine. We'll download the app. We'll get you in it. And you can search for different things. So when you're talking to people and they say, oh, does that work for? And they list off whatever, arthritis, pain, you can go right here to Telegram and type in arthritis and then just copy a link and send it to them and they can listen to someone else's testimonial because she doesn't have arthritis, right? So she's like, I don't have it, but let me send you that third-party validation proof of somebody that does. So number 7, use the feel, felt, found. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, I'm sure you probably have, but when someone says, you know, this is where I'm at, okay, blah, 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 and you say, I totally get how you feel. Like, I was skeptical too. Or I totally get how you feel. You never, know about these stem cell things, or I totally, whatever they said, okay, whatever they said, you say, I totally understand how you feel. You may not agree with it, but you can understand how they feel, right? Until I saw, and you heard Mariella's long list of people that this has impacted in her family's lives. So she could say, oh, I totally understand how you feel. I was skeptical too until I saw what happened to my mom, to my dad, to my next door neighbor, to my sister, to my cousin, to my brother, blah, blah, blah. And she could go right into that. But again, she'd want to keep it short and sweet and to the point, right? And this is what I found. These patches are really doing work in people's lives, different things, right? Whatever you feel like saying there. But keeping that framework helps people to connect with you. And you're, again, showing value. I understand, but this is what I saw. And I found that this will actually work for lots of different things for different people because maybe you've watched lots of testimonials. You just heard a lot of them today, right? So this is also really key because people don't want to be spammed. And this is where you get that multi-level marketing, network marketing gets a bad rap because people blow people's phones up. They have a list of 10 and they're on those 10 people like this. Order, buy, join my team. And people don't like that. It's really important just to give the information, share what they're asking for, circle back around, right? Follow up. We're going to talk about some things here in a minute with that and timing. But don't push people or pressure people because no one wants to be sold. They want to buy, they want something to help them, but they want to know that you're going to be there to be the one to add the value and to be there when they're ready. Maybe it's timing. You know, we always say with people, things change quarterly. There's births, there's deaths, there's divorces, there's marriages, there's home moves, there's job moves, fire, hire, all the things. So things are changing quarterly. So if you've had conversation with them and it's kind of been like, you know, they're not really interested or it's not the right time, just say, hey, no worries, I'll check back with you. Or if something changes, let me know. Because there's 8 billion people in the planet. Like 8 billion people walking around on the planet. That's a whole lot of people. So it doesn't have to be those 10 people on the list or the 100 people that you've contacted 100 different times for 100 different companies in the past. Like, there are billions. So stay in the flow. We've talked about alignment before, staying in that alignment. And always be inviting to the next exposure. If they are talking to you and having communication with you, then ask them if you can send them the link to something next week or to an upcoming Zoom or to a recording, depending on their needs, whether they're wanting business or whether they're wanting product. So always be inviting to that next exposure. And again, if they're not responding, you know, just give them space. And then the last one is be consistent and be professional. So people say yes when they're ready, not when you are. Your energy is everything, and you guys know this. Your energy of I need this customer, I need this builder, I need this, I need that is a big, 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 big block. Big X. I don't need anyone to be successful. Now, yes, we are a team and we work together, and it's definitely a team effort to create success. Team energy. But that again works with my alignment, the 8 billion people on the planet that are coming into my sphere through me and through all of my entire downline. So when I'm consistent, I'm professional. I know that whenever it's a yes, it's a divine yes. If it's a no, it's a divine no. I am not here to try to determine someone's timing for their life. I'm here to work with who wants to work, help whoever wants to, share the information, add the value when they're ready. It makes it fun. I don't feel like I'm working because I know that everyone that drops in, my entire organization, is divinely aligned at this time. And that's a sweet spot to work in my personal opinion. So, and experience. But they are watching how you show up. A lot of times people are just waiting to see if you're going to stick with it, if you're going to be consistent, if you're going to do this, and what your results are. People will watch. They will watch and see. And maybe you don't see them for a while and then poof, they pop back up on social media, or you see them in person. They're like, good Lord, what is happening with you? Brent has his 35th class reunion coming up in a month. And he wants to go. I'm like, why are we going? Like, we don't talk to these people. We don't hang out with them. I know why he's going, because he looks great for his age. And he sees his people on Facebook. And not that his friends from high school are even buying the patches, right? Because he doesn't promote LifeWave or anything like that on social media. I know he wants to go because he's like, I'm feeling good about myself. And, you know, I want to share this technology with people. But he's not a Facebook social media kind of guy. And obviously, I don't go into social media. But when they do see him online, obviously, but when they see him in person, he knows they're going to be like, dude, how are you looking like this? How is your wife looking like this? And you guys are the same age as us and we don't. And he'll just turn around and show this little sticker on the back and step to the side, and Staci will do the talking because that's kind of his more strategy of sharing with people. Then it happens every time he goes back to Indiana. He goes back at least once a month to meet with people. And he always comes home and goes, here, contact this person. Here, contact this person. Because they all say, what are you doing? He's been patching for 4.5 years. He doesn't look like he's almost 55, right? He looks like he's more like 40, 45, maybe younger in his eyes. I don't know. But just know that consistency and that professionalism and that going from a place of I don't need or want to have the people is like the magnet that brings them in, and they'll show up. They will when they're ready. So let's talk a little bit about this optional, this touch point rule with the follow-up. And then of course we'll get to, because this is a little bit more of a, I don't think I can share this way. Let me see. Yeah, this one I'll have to share. Maybe make sure it's up and down. Yeah, okay, good. So being able to talk about, and again, I'll share this with you guys, but being able to talk a little bit more about a flow of it is what this is about. So you're going to share something initially, whether it's a video, a tool, an invite to a Zoom, something like that, a one-to-one, maybe a sample of IceWave if you're with them, and then following up with them, the questions, the testimonials, what you're doing, and then inviting them to the next exposure. So this is what we do. We call it 333, but we're 30, 30, 30, right, Laura? But this is what we do. We share, right? We reach out to people, we follow up with people, and we invite people. That happens every single day, and it happens over and over and over and over and over again. Okay. So if you look at the first touch point, right, that initial, again, adding value. What can you give to them? A PDF, something like that. Being in that professional but concise, right, clear, but let them know you're going to follow up with them. That means they know they're going to hear from you again. But again, keep it small, short, light information. There's some examples on there. I'm not going to read them to you. But when you look at number 2, following up with questions. So social, again, like I said, giving them testimonials, asking them basic questions. What stood out? What did you notice about this? And again, open-ended questions. So align with that pain point of the solution. And this is not going to show me, I don't think, the third one on here, just because it was too big on the thing. So hang on one second. Let me close out of that real quick, and I'll show you, because I want you to see this third one. Let me get it pulled up, because it's on this little, sometimes it does that if the little thing is too big. Okay, here we go. Here's the third one. If you're not using this website, thank God Laura told me about this, to create, whew, definitely should. So we were right up here at touch point number 2, social proof, right? Questions. And this is number 3. So invite to that next step. So number 1, again, this is just kind of summarizes it all. You're going to initiate, right? Share the information, add the value. Number 2, you're going to follow up with them with questions. And then number 3, you're going to invite, right, to that next step, the group, the exposure, the upline 3-way call, the one-to-one private Zoom, 1 to 3 private Zoom, that kind of thing. Or maybe you're inviting them to a live Zoom, right? This that we just finished was a live Zoom that you invite them to. Or maybe they couldn't make it. And I know, like today, Deborah told me she has 3 people that she's going to send the recording to. Only one could make it, 3 need the recording. Timing didn't work. Totally fine. That's your next step that you're inviting to. And maybe, if they're not interested again, or if they're not ready, then you're going to check back, keeping that cycle. But I want you to look at this right here, the psychology behind it. Don't expect everyone to be a yes on day 1. I was a yes on day 1 because I understood patch technology, I understood light therapy, and I knew that stem cells were the holy grail of healing. I said yes instantly. Just give me the package. I'm walking out the door of this wellness center. Here's your cash. Goodbye. Like, I was perfectly fine with that. I was a one and done. But a lot of people are not. And so you have to be okay with the fact that it's going to happen over time for most people. And that, especially when you're looking about partnering with people in this industry, whether it's with their health or with the business, that trust is built over time. So track everything again. Don't skip the steps, and you don't have to close it in the first call. But if you're consistent with it, then what happens is you have this flow. And so the people that you talked to months ago are now ready. And the people that you're talking to now could be ready right now, or they could be ready months from now. But when we say 333, when you're reaching out to 3 new people per day, whether it's online or it's in person, it's at a networking event, we're going to talk more about that, where to network, next week when we come back together, because that was the second thing that was asked, where to network. The key is the consistency with it daily. And we call this like a churn, a flow. And so there's never a lull or a lag time in the people that are having conversations with you that are interested. I went back, Trey sent me a text yesterday morning. There was a guy that went to the website and signed up. He'd seen some, I don't know, videos or something on YouTube. And Trey texted me, he goes, Mom, that was my 300th brand partner enrollment. And I said, fantastic, congratulations. That's excitement. I didn't even know you were paying attention, but that's fantastic. Congratulations. And I said, just wait a second. I've got 301 enrolling right now. This lady just sent me a text. I'm hopping on the phone to call her. Again, she saw videos online, right? So the key is if you're constantly doing that, exposing, sharing the information, the valuable information, then the people are going to come in. It's just, when are they going to play? I don't know. I'm just going to stay consistent with my sharing, with my following up. Trey's got his list. I have my list. You know, he sat down last night and he sent messages to invite people we did a little promo last month and where we did a little energy enhancer thing where we sent people information and a couple of days of energy enhancer. He sat down last night and sent all of the messages inviting them to tonight's Zoom that I'm doing at 8 Eastern. I've got another person on my team, Dr. Mel. We Zoom with doctors and practitioners, and she sat down today because I saw them come through my inbox. We have little three-way chats, and she invited everybody today to tonight's Zoom. Following up, right? Keeping that kind of flow of that. So we've got about 7 or 8 minutes left. I would love to see or hear what questions you all have. And again, I will send this to Tony, to Laura, to Jules in email form right after this recording. And of course, that PowerPoint, you guys can feel free to share it with whoever you want. I don't care. Like I said, I just typed in what I was looking for parameter-wise in AI. I prompted it to give me what I wanted for you guys, and it spit out that information. And I made a couple changes, and then I dropped it into PowerPoint, and it literally finished at 5 minutes till we hopped on Zoom. So utilizing tools to help us educate. All right, so question. What question? What questions do you guys have? If you have one, you just unmute.
Okay, I've got one then. Hello, Steve. Hello. So I've just had someone come on, and I'm going to follow up in a bit. Is there any particular approach that I should take with her? Like if I say something like, "Did you enjoy it?" That's a kind of yes/no answer. If I leave it more open, I'm just thinking about exactly what I would say.
Okay, so they just watched this.
Yeah, they've just been.
What I would say is, what impressed you most, or what did you like best about the information? So just ask them that kind of question. What did you like most? What impressed you?
Yeah.
Just see what they thought. If you ask them an open-ended question like that, they'll tell you not only that answer, but they'll give you other questions or other information as well too.
Yeah.
Their thoughts of it.
Okay. Thank you.
That's like reading. Reading 101. Reading and writing 101 is those open-ended questions, not the yes or no questions, right? You want to have open-ended. Sorry, guy just drove by. Callie, she's a guard dog now all of a sudden. She goes from sleeping to guard dog instantly. All right, what other questions do you guys have? Yes, Kathleen, you want to unmute? You have to unmute yourself. Can't unmute yourself. Maybe type it. Okay, does anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah, okay, I've got a question.
Okay.
So there were some people that I connected with quite early, and if I'm honest, at some point they're maybe fallen off the follow-up list. And
say that. Hang on. You said there's people. Hang on, Claire. You said there's people you connected with early on, and then I didn't get the rest of that part.
And then they fell off the follow-up list, if I'm honest.
Okay.
How would you reconnect? Like after it's been a while?
Okay.
And I don't have project broadcast, so there's not that automatic sending out, which maybe is something I could sort of think about
Yeah.
trying to incorporate that.
So then when you look at, hey, haven't chatted in a while, wanted to share something new with you. Okay, so they were on your list. You haven't talked to them in years. Doesn't matter how long it's been, weeks, months, doesn't matter. You popped in my head today. I wanted to share something new with you. What's new? The recording of what you just saw. It's new.
Yeah, I mean, I decide now too, so.
Yeah, you can share that with
That
them.
sounds like that's something I could sort of just send out, because it is new and exciting and sort of a difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll go back through my list and get
Perfect.
it back. And then also the nice thing about that is you see if they at least look or not.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. When you use the messenger, you can, or WhatsApp, you can tell if they've used it, seen it. Yeah. Awesome. All right, Kathleen.
Hi, Dr. Staci. I was on Saturday with Ursula at a big event where we had our stand, our LifeWave stand. And I've been following up a lot of people. I immediately followed up afterwards. I wasn't sure what was the best video to send, and I wondered if you can suggest one.
So say that again with
right. So there were 17 people I spoke to, and I wanted to immediately follow them up, which I did.
Okay.
And I sent a little video, a 2-minute video, and then referred to some of the questions that they asked. I just wondered if there's something that you send to people, after an event or something, or does it not matter? Is it just up to me to work it out?
So I would say probably people may answer differently on this. I'm real big at the event giving them paper. So they get the health tracker, they get the product summary sheet and order form. So they're going to walk away with materials from me personally. If you did not do that, then that would be, you can send them that in PDF, whether through text or through email. We have all of those in PDFs. So I would send them that and ask them to review this and see when is a good time for you to check back with them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks a lot.
Fiona, you want to unmute?
Yeah, sure. Very quick question, and I'm sure not the only one asking this one. What do you do when you get loads of information, you send WhatsApp? I always now check if it's easier for me to send them a WhatsApp or an email, which one are they going to see? And then you see that they haven't actually opened it.
So that's when you go back to your follow-up again. So maybe it's a day or two later. Hey, want to check and see if timing is better now for you to take a look at this and us have a conversation about it.
Yeah, I've done that.
Maybe they still don't respond. So again, if they're still not responding, give it a few days, maybe a week or two, depending on if they are responding, interacting. Check back in again the following week. Hey, we had talked about your issues with back pain. I came across this recording. I wanted to share that with you of someone that was personally experiencing back pain and now it's gone.
Yeah, I've done a few of those, and they still get those messages that people are really keen, and then they don't open up, and you don't, unless they've turned it off, and they've still haven't, because I know you can turn it off so you can't see if they've actually seen the message. It doesn't go blue.
Yeah. So then just, again, if you do that a couple times and they're not responding, not responsive, then they go on to that a little bit farther down the road, maybe, a few months down the road before you check back with them. Because you don't want to just keep sending message after message after message. But then also, if you were in London, you heard George talk about, he sent 21 messages to Chris in South Africa before Chris finally listened. 21 messages with all the information, and Chris finally was, excited. But this was over many, many months of time, which is a lot. That's excess, honestly. But that's George. I love George. So, finally, Chris was interested, and he's like, okay, so tell me about it. And George was like, well, scroll up. I gave you all the information. So they had met online through a social media group.
I think I'm going to go back through, because I've got quite a lot like that, and just see if we can get some responses.
Yeah, let's try it again down the road. You just never know. Fortune's in the follow-up. I'll leave you guys with that. Fortune's in the follow-up. And if you don't follow up, someone else will share the information with them. They'll be out somewhere. They'll see a patch. They'll hear about it. They'll be like, wait, I think that's what this lady was inboxing me about that I didn't pay attention to. And if you're still top of mind, a lot of times they will go back to you and say, hey, you know what? We had talked about that. had a conversation with you. Could you send me some more information? I'm ready to get started now. Because obviously your consistency shows that you're committed. Let that one sink in. Your consistency shows that you're committed. Because if you don't ever follow back up again, they may think you're just gone. You just stopped, right? You gave up. You were gone with the wind, gone with the weeds, right? Who knows? You're out. So the consistency is key, because they'll say, oh, wow, he did send me all that information. Yeah, I'm ready now. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys today. Like I said, I'll send it to Jules and Tony and Laura, and then we'll look forward to seeing you guys again next Tuesday. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you
you.
so much, Staci. That was
Thanks, Stacey.
fabulous. So
Yeah.
appreciate
welcome.
you.
Welcome, welcome.